there is absolutely no way we would be where we are now if we had not taken that one step right there. So we have a joke whenever entrepreneur owners, business owners go to a conference, like whether it's Dave Ramsey or our Profit First conference or Tony Robbins or whatever else, we come back and we are like, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And the whole team is like, whiplash. Ugh.
Founder to founder, real talk, real stories. One decision that changed everything. This is the best decision ever. Hey, welcome back to the best decision ever. I am here with CEO of Sum of All Numbers, Michelle Scribner. Michelle, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I am thrilled to be here with you.
Awesome. All right. So for those who don't know, and there's no reason why you would know, Michelle was for a long time our bookkeeper and now kind of serves as let's call it like a fractional CFO for our business and helps us understand our numbers. So Michelle, give us the, 60-second rundown of what Sum of All Numbers is and how it all works.
Fantastic. We used to just do bookkeeping, and then we realized back in 2017 that AI was on the horizon, and if we didn't do a little bit more than just bookkeeping, we were going to be out of a job. So we saw it coming. We weren't afraid of it. We just said, hey, we know a lot of stuff. Let's move into that space. And so because we're so into the numbers, we could say, this is what this means. This is what this means. And so we leveled up, and I call ourselves a fractional CFO company with bookkeeping support. And so now at this point, hardly any of our clients coming in are just getting bookkeeping because they know that it's like we've got a lot more to offer them. And they want someone to just say, what do these numbers mean? Is this good? Is this bad? What should I do next? And just looking for a trusted advisor to help them make those decisions. And numbers are like embarrassing sometimes or intimidating or like not very fun. And so to walk that walk with people has been a real joy.
Oh my gosh. Well, I will just say on a very personal note that when our business was not profitable, when we met, it was one of those cash in, cash out, every dollar that came in got spent. And it was September of 2023 that we switched over to Profit First. We switched over to Relay Bank, and we met you all about the same time. And I remember very early in 2024 or 2025 or whatever year it was, I forget now, but having that first month, we're like, oh my gosh, there's money left over. And so I have no doubt in my mind that you have been a huge part of our success in our business. But more than that, if you're listening, you're an entrepreneur, you're out there and you're like, I don't know what my numbers mean. Holy smokes, like reach out to Michelle and her team at Sum of All Numbers. It's money well spent.
Yeah, that cash flow thing is the number one reason that keep business owners up at night and why they have to close their doors a lot of times. And so a lot of the times that's who we attract at the beginning, like, help me with this. But then it's like, okay, how do you keep more of the money, or what is the exit strategy, or what's the principle behind this? And you know that from personal experience working with me. And then I'm going to say the other part that I kind of feel like sets us apart from others is that we really take into consideration your personal behaviors as well, because every entrepreneur comes with their own set of beliefs and risks and things they're afraid about and things they're not afraid about. And all of those, it comes right into the numbers. It just comes into the numbers. And so when we treat everyone unique and like an individual, because the principles are the same, but the way you apply them are going to be different based upon the personality types you're dealing with.
100%. Yeah. Highly recommend. I still don't understand half the time when you're going through the numbers. You're like, this means this. I'm like, okay, I don't get it, but I get that you get it. And that feels good to me. So, but genuinely reach out to Michelle and her team at Sum of All Numbers if you're looking for help in that way. It's not hype at all. She really did help us to level up our business and continues to help us level up our business all these years later. But that's not exactly what we're here to talk about. Michelle, what's the best business decision you've ever made?
It's so funny because since you asked that question, then I keep on thinking of other things, not to replace what my original answer with you is, but you start realizing pivotal pieces. So I'm going to put this in context so that we can answer that question. I deal with bookkeepers. And as we grew, bookkeepers are put your head down, go into all the little details, tell every little piece of everything, micromanage. I mean, that's what makes a really good bookkeeper. And as we grew, we promoted people who were our great bookkeepers, and we found ourselves in a place where we had grown, and our meetings were, well, first of all, there were a bunch of women, so blah blah blah, talk, and then detail. And so one of the best decisions we ever made, and it was apparent within 3 months, was putting into play the Entrepreneurial Operating System that is spelled out in Traction, the book Traction, of how you manage your meetings. And it changed immediately because, first of all, everyone came to the table engaged. And everyone was like, there was no longer, I'm checking out because that person's just telling you. It used to be like, go around the table and everyone's just vomiting out what they've done to me, and I'm the only one listening, and there was no cohesiveness. And that just made all the difference, that all of a sudden now we were talking about urgent and impactful decision making, and we knew where we wanted to get, but now there was a structure for us to get there and have everyone who is at the table push us forward. And I look back on that and say, there is absolutely no way we would be where we are now if we had not taken that one step right there.
How long ago, by the way, this is not an EOS podcast, but
no, it's not.
3 out of the 6 people I've interviewed have said implementing EOS was one of the best things that they ever did, if not the best thing they ever did for their businesses. And we also run our business on EOS. And so again, like, I don't know, Gino, if you want to sponsor this, just give me a call. But like, legitimately, so how long ago was that you decided to implement EOS?
So we had it in place in 2020, but the team was not all bought into it. It was, and I think I shared this with you, where you go through the book, where you're going through it chapter by chapter, and then the last chapter of the book says, now don't go in order, start here. And I was just like, what?
Yes, like, so I read it from there then.
I was just like, so the funny thing is, and I shared this with you too, I bought a second book, cut the spine off it, ran it through my photocopy machine with the journaling on the side of it, punched holes, and took the last chapter and put it at the very front of that. And we went back in there, and then we started like really, really diving in. We only hired an implementer one time, and so we kind of did it self-taught. But we're a bunch of bookkeepers, so we're kind of like study fools and follow things and everything like that. The interesting part about it, Bryce, was that I had people on that leadership team because we just started with the leadership team, that were like, I hate this. I don't want to be a leader on this. And we reframed what it meant to be a leader. A leader didn't mean you were this king with a throne up there. A leader meant was you have to think high picture. You have to put your head up. You have to look ahead and not put your head in the weeds. And so it was beautiful because it made those people who had been promoted still be like, you're still valuable. Don't look at this as a demotion to be taking off the leadership team. But it made them realize, that's not me. That's not what I want. So it attracted, because of the structure of it, it attracted my leaders for me. My leaders. And the last person that we just said, I'm gonna pull you off of our leadership team. Her thing was like, I just have too many meetings. And so when she viewed it as a meeting, I'm like, oh, this isn't a meeting. This is like strategy, big picture, whole thing. So
interesting.
It separated without me having to separate it, because we're still at that size that, Bryce, I can't go out and hire some, high director of operations. I can't go hire someone who has that as their credentials. I have taken someone who has real amazing abilities, and we made it into a director.
Yeah,
we molded them.
Yeah.
And they were there for it because of the format of the whole EOS structure and the meetings and the quarterly goals and everything else that goes with it.
So tell me a little bit more about that, because I think you said that not everybody was bought in on it. And when we started implementing as well, it was the same. Honestly, it was, this is how we're going to do it. Here's how we're going to document. This is where we're going to take notes. The meeting ends exactly on time. And that was to be honest, and I'm not sure anyone's ever used this word to describe EOS, it was actually fairly disruptive to our process, because we had something, good going, and we had a lot of relational connectivity that was happening, which was helping to drive the business forward. And then when we introduced the structure, it's sort of like, at first anyway, was the wet blanket on the party. And so I'm curious, in your experience, how did you, was it just a matter of, how long did it take to kind of get the right people at the table in the first place?
So we have a joke whenever entrepreneur owners, business owners go to a conference, like whether it's Dave Ramsey or our Profit First conference or Tony Robbins or whatever else, we come back and we are like, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. Yeah. And the whole team is like whiplash. Yeah. And they hate it. They hate it when the business owners go, because we come back so energized to try things out. But you know what part of our makeup is that we're not afraid to try something and then adjust it. Try something and adjust it, try something and adjust it. Now, my team is made up of, I had one of the employees say, before you have us try something, will you just make sure it's going to work first? That is the way a bookkeeper works. The same, I've had an employee say, before you hire someone, will you make sure they're not going to quit?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so what's the difference between that, Bryce? There's some people that they have the makeup of an entrepreneur, and they have some people that are makeup of an employee, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's the chief, the Indians thing, whatever you want to say it, it's just, so we come in with this, hey, we're going to try this out this way, we're going to make an adjustment. So the format was not disruptive, mainly because it was so structured. And that's what my people thrive, is the structure but what was disruptive was there was no longer any lines in the sand. There was no longer, I'm going to sit in my corner. Well, that doesn't affect me. And finger pointing. Well, that's their problem, not mine. And all of a sudden it was like, no, it's our problem. And you're coming with your board member hat on, not the role that you sit in. And my leadership team has succeeded. I put an operations L10 meeting together, and it's been like pushing a boulder up a hill for me for 2 years, to the point where I'm like, I haven't given up on it, but there still is I don't want to make the decision. So again, I know, I believe in it so much that I'm like, it's okay. I feel like I shouldn't have to be in that operations L10 meeting, but right now, if I weren't there, it would slide back a little bit. And so, and I've had people, I know, I've had people say, well, maybe you don't have the right people in there. I thought, well, maybe I don't, but right now, this is how we're going to work it. And yeah. But I think the other thing that we've seen, and I'm going to say that this is probably a decades old piece. Across America, like, let's go way, way back in time. So my dad is a Rotarian, Rotary International. He saw back in 2000 that membership was declining. Yeah. Volunteerism has declined. PTA membership has declined. What else have we seen? Memberships in churches and religions has declined. There's a general, and whatever it is, and whether it's America or whatever else, the buy-in, having someone buy in to what you want to do is harder and harder and harder. And the EOS system creates a buy-in that you have to, it just sets it up, because you are putting key metrics there on your scorecard that everyone has to buy into. And if they don't, then you throw them out and you say, what metrics should we be focusing on then? And then they have to buy in order, because the metrics, the scorecard is supposed to move you towards the rock, which is supposed to move you towards the goal, which is supposed to move you to the BHAG, and it all kind of builds on each other. So I look at that, and in my fractional CFO hat, when somebody like an owner says, I just don't have buy-in from my team, the first thing I go to as the principal is, we need some metrics that they're reporting on.
Yeah.
that they care about, that they're held accountable for and rewarded for, or whatever else is there. And it goes back to that principle of, yes, whatever you measure is where your focus is. And when there is celebration around it, then people buy in on it.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Rogers used to say, what you can mention gets managed, right? And the business version of that, what you can measure gets managed. And both are, I think, are true. The scorecard thing was really revolutionary for us because prior to that point, we didn't have metrics that we could look at quarter over quarter over quarter. It was always, what is the metric of the fire du jour, the one that is like burning down now? And let's just go and look at that. And it's been an incredible exercise in self-discipline, I think, too, to say, I understand that this is burning down, but the meeting that we're in right now, the conversation we're having is not for that. So we're going to talk about this because we've identified this thing as our most important, our goal for the year, our rock for the year. And if you don't know that terminology, it's EOS language. It's a full blown cult. Like you'll get into it real fast. But I will say that we've made some really big decisions in our business, even recently, with the more recent version of AI coming on scene. We've made some fairly big decisions based on, okay, well, this is what we said our 1 year picture is. This is where we said we were going. And so we have to do this, and this in order to get there, and ruffled some feathers along the way. But yeah, the scorecards, the structure. I do think it's fascinating, though, that for your people, it sounds like that was a relief. For my people who are all creative in nature, it felt like shackles. It felt like death.
I know. I bet it did. I can only imagine. Absolutely. Yep.
So you started doing this in, you said 2020.
2020. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
I'm going to say
years on.
What's that?
So you're 6 years in.
Yes.
How has your EOS practice evolved since those early days?
We started off with just the leadership team. Now we have an operations L10 meeting. We have a sales L10 meeting. We have, I want to say there's 4 or 5 different L10 meetings that are run under that same way. We use a software where everyone can log in and just put their issues as the week goes on. So in my one-on-ones that are just part of, because in a virtual business, like we've got a lot of one-on-ones. So, and when issues come up like that, then I said, go put that on the IDS or the issue list, identify, discuss solve IDS. Yeah. I'm like, what is that? Okay. I'm not a very good acronym person, but so that is another piece that it used to be that all the issues that were on there had my little picture next to all of them because I was the only one putting it in there. But now it is, I'm the least amount and it's equally put amongst everyone. We just had one of our quarterly meetings. It was that I walked away saying, yes, we finally okay, that was really, really good where we kind of adjusted. I'm very big picture, shoot in the sky. My leadership team loves that and they will aim and get it. My operations team, it needed to be bite-sized. And I acknowledge that. I'm like, okay, that's just fine. I don't care how fast we get somewhere as long as we are all going the same direction. So if it's baby steps, no problem with me because everything that we discuss moves us forward in that way. I look at the more and more things that are getting put on there. They're as soon as something comes up, they're not thinking, oh, that's a problem Michelle needs to solve. They know, oh, we need to discuss this. So all of that has truly evolved from this as well, which is very nice.
Do you find that, because I think there's one thing where with buy-in, right? Where you get people to basically say, hey, listen, if you would like to continue to get paid here, here's what I need you to do. Like that's one level. But then there's kind of this other level that you're sort of touching on where it's like ownership, where people start seeing problems and solving them on their own because they can. You haven't used that word specifically, but I'm sort of hearing it between the lines. Is that something you're seeing evolving in your team?
Yes, I think they needed a platform. Even though I am like, hey, share your thoughts. I'm all for making good changes and stuff. I really think they needed a platform where it was just safe to throw those ideas out there
Mm,
and bring it to. One of the issues we have our meetings on Monday, and so one of the issues that got put on there, well, somebody was on, one of our team members was on Facebook over the weekend, and they said the question on the Facebook, whatever they were on, says how do you decide when to fire a client? And we have not fired any clients in the time that she's been with us. And so she put that on there as an issue list. And I said, I'm so glad you put this on there. Let me tell you what we've done in the past, why we haven't, and what happens next. And then the other people chimed in. I said, what do you want to do? What should we do? And when is the right timing on it? And and she led it out. She led the discussion out. And then I did very little of it besides say, this is a great question. I believe in pruning your client list. And there was, of course, as bookkeepers, was like, will you rate this? I'm like, well, the way we did it was you put the client and there's either a happy face or a sad face. That's all I did. That's the way we rated the clients. I said, it was called the cringe factor. And way back in, when we did it before, and she just laughed, like it didn't have to be this complex thing to get to, let's get back to that. And then when it's appropriate, let's trim the client list and make space for, when you identify who your top client is, and then you realize, oh my gosh, I love all my clients, because you're attracting the clients that just really resonate with you. Then it's a little bit easier to say, they don't fit. And I think they know it too. So it's not a bad thing. It sounds like it's bad, but it's not bad. Every business needs to do that.
Anybody who's a business, and that's who is listening to this. We've all had to fire clients. We've been fired by clients. We've had to fire a team. We've, been fired by
We've all got the phone call, the phone rings, and it's like, ugh, that type of thing. And that's how we rated it. That's just how we rated it, to make it so that again, if you don't identify who your people are, then you cannot lead them. And my people are, well, I am going to say one thing we don't do. We don't rate our meetings.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So for those who don't know, part of the official EOS, I don't know, it's part of the cult, but you're supposed to, at the end of each meeting, you actually rate it on a scale from 1 to 10. Anything below 8, you have to explain why it's below 8. But you don't rate meetings. Why? How did you come to that conclusion, or why did you choose that?
Because my team are all wired to be very detailed, and they wanted a thorough definition that you could fit every single box to decide whether it's a 9.5 or a 9 or a 9.75. And when it got to, no, you laugh, but that's where it went, Bryce. And at that point, I'm like, this doesn't even matter anymore. I knew what the purpose was. I knew who I was dealing with. And maybe if we're twice as big and my leadership team is made up of different types of people wired differently, then perhaps we could go back to that. Well, it just got so ridiculous. And so just rank the meeting. Because you're supposed to improve upon it and say, anyway, it just got ridiculous. And so I was like, I'm done. That was my lack of patience. And I was like, we're not rating this anymore. So.
That's really funny. It's the rating of the meeting thing is, for me in particular, it's hysterical, because the meetings that I rate the highest, my team rates the lowest. And when they're like, this was a great meeting, I'm like, this meeting sucked. So we've learned that we're very opposite, because for me, it's I am the visionary in our business. I show up looking out over the horizon, trying to figure out what's coming. And many of the people that I work with are very nuts and bolts, are very practical, and they just want to know how to solve the problem today, right now, the one that's in front of them. And they have no brain power devoted to what's coming 18 months to 24 months down the line. And so it is something to be said for just understanding your people and recognizing that not everybody is going to have the same experience of anything in a business, rating a meeting, having a conversation, blue sky, thinking about the future. Some of us, that's the beginning of a good day. And for some people, that's just oh my God, this again, I hate this. And knowing your
Right.
people is a profound lesson that I think we all have to go on as leaders. And it's the hardest part, I think, of business in general.
People.
Yeah.
If we didn't have to have people, it'd be really easy, wouldn't it, Bryce?
It'd be so easy. Yeah, it'd be incredibly easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, unfortunately, clients are people and team are people.
I know. I know. I know.
So for somebody who's kind of towing the line, thinking about, EOS, maybe they've picked up traction, maybe they've heard about it from, well, if you listen to this podcast, you've heard it.
You already know.
Now,
I know. That's so funny.
It seems like we're sponsored. We're not. Gino, call me. But if someone's thinking about getting into it, it sounds like you've approached it in a very healthy, organic way. Would you recommend that, or would you recommend, knowing what you know now, just like go full bore, hire the integrator, implementer, or whatever, and just like do it big? Like, what would you say now that you've kind of grown up in it a little bit?
Yeah. So this is purely Michelle. This is it's Michelle speaking. It's not like this wise person. It's the way I'm going to say, I go back to the principles behind it. What's the principles behind cash flow? Well, make sure there's enough money in the bank when you need it. Like, that's the principle, I mean, and so in any way of applying something, it's like, what is the principles that I'm going after here? So in a lot of things, I'm not a purist on every box needs to be checked. Like, if an implementer heard that I didn't rate my meetings, I think I would probably be like, now sit down, we need to tell you why this is important. Well, I do know it's important, but it was not getting me the principle behind of improving the meetings, getting the buy-in. I mean, I had people telling, well, we only went over this many things, and so therefore it's only a 9.5. And at that point, I'm like, that's not the principle behind this. So that got put aside because of just taking where it was. I felt like we could do it by reading traction and studying it. And at one point we got stuck a little bit. So we brought an implementer in, and they just kind of got us over the hump. But I have read that book more than once, and I've used it as a study manual to go back and then to bring my team up and say, so as a leader, I think if you are not, as the leader, the owner of the company who's leading this out, if you are not comfortable saying, this is what we're doing and this is how we're going to do it, then it is a lot easier to bring in an implementer to help guide you along the way. In my case, I was very, very comfortable in that seat to say, this is it. And I know where I read it. And now I'm going to send you the copy of that page again, or copy and paste it, send it out in the Slack message. Reread this, get ready. Like, even today, said the reason why there is a to-do list is that anything on the to-do list should be done in 1 week. If it's not done in a week, it shouldn't be a to-do. And they all looked at me like, oh. I'm like, yeah, this isn't, I don't want to see this on the to-do list of, 2 weeks later. No, it's on there if it doesn't happen, we don't put it as a to-do in that. So again, going back to the principles behind it. So yeah, that is from Michelle's point of view.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I've got great friends that they are implementers, and they would be like,
I mean, we're on the other. I think some of this, though, and there's some. Hello, puppy. You're all good. I think there is something to be said for the personality of the people in the room, right? For us, a bunch of right-brained creatives. I think that's the right brain. I'm not sure. There's zero chance that we were going to self-implement and do it well. We needed to hire the outside help, the structure, the person who could come in and kind of say, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Totally could see how in your business, where it's more of the analytical, the dollars and cents, literally the columns and check boxes and protocols and procedures, totally could see how self-implementing could completely work. Yeah. So I think it's something to be said. But again, you're literally the third person in 6 episodes that has said implementing EOS is, if not the best thing, then one of the best things that I've ever done for my business. And there it is.
The other aha moment for me, and again, you get into it, there's things you were trying to accomplish, like I said, as goals and metrics and stuff. There was an aha moment when it was like, you're not creating a job description of what the person, the Michelle in your company. You're creating the role of the CEO and the role of this person and the role. And it was like, oh, and that changed everything for me as well, to view the organization, which is that it's a big part of it, as it changed everything to say, now, what does it mean to succeed in that role? And then coming up with, and when you can identify what does it look like to succeed and how do you measure that success, all of a sudden the light bulb went on. I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay, now you start really picturing big, like, where are we going with this? And you can start dreaming. So for us, we have a salesperson. We don't have a marketing person, but there's a role that is on there right now. They put two hats on, but it's like, that's not what I want long term. So you can really dream big, which is the fun part of being a business owner, and then say, what is going to get us, or where's the next step we want to get, based upon what is available to us. So
yeah, I do remember that too, to be honest, was when we started doing the org chart through the EOS framework, and it's not designing it around personalities or what are my strengths or what are my skills, but around what are, and you said it very well, the objective measures and characteristics of the person who sits in that seat. And I think we all, and everybody on my team would tell you this, we all kind of looked at it and went, okay, nobody's in the right seat. Like, you're not in the right seat. Like, nobody's in the right seat based on.
I remember when you made that change.
Based on yeah, right. Like, it was very, very real to just go, okay, yeah. Didn't see that coming. So EOS is like, if you haven't checked it out, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that's so interesting. So another way that you're naturally wired is, do you go with your gut? Do you go with evidence? I am an extremely evidence person. And so I always do a deep dive and into something, whatever it is. And if you pick up any business book, then they're putting their philosophies out there. And then I immediately am looking for the evidence that supports that and where the principles are behind it and such. And so I think in this case, there was so much evidence out there that thinking in this way would get you to where you want to go. And then it just fit right. And then those principles were in place too. So all of that just kind of was a beautiful blend for taking the company to the next level.
Well, I love that. It's been a pleasure to hang out, to just chat with you. Kind of CEO to CEO. We don't get to have that conversation very often. So this has been really fun, but I'm glad, that you are able to share that story with us, because again, it's sometimes we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. And I think EOS does do an incredible job of just reminding us of what we all already know and just forget in the daily grind of running our businesses. So thank you for joining me, Michelle. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me. Loving it.
All right, well, that's it for this episode of Best Decision Ever. Take what you've learned and go build something bold. We'll see you next time.